start.
Well, hello there.
Hi.
I'm Chelsea, and this is Brett.
I'm Brett.
And we're from the agency Bend.
Yes. Yep. We're here today just to have a little conversation about, kind of we're wrapping up winter time and wrapping up.
No, we're entering wintertime.
Oh, okay. We're
Settling in.
we're settling.
We're settling into winter.
I get nervous when it first starts. We're settling into wintertime here, and we really just wanted to kind of hop on and just have a little powwow and just share kind of and just talk to each other and just kind of talk about what we're seeing and, what we're thinking, what we like, and just kind of
Create a little dialogue that hopefully brings value, maybe curiosity and interest for all of you Bendites or for those that don't live in Bend. Everyone is welcome here. So to get started, we always kind of like to give a little recap as we're kicking off the beginning of December here, first week of December. We are currently sitting on about 4 months of inventory, and that is the Bend market as a whole. Median sales price last month was $739, so not terrible. And 65 days is the average days on market. Mind you, that could be much longer, could be much shorter, but that's just, our averages heading into December. Do you have any thoughts on that, Fred? Does that feel right?
I think that sounds about right from kind of what I'm seeing in the current climate and current market that we're sitting in. A lot of people are settling in, and
this tends to be, as you're saying, like the time when we're spending time with families, holidays, we're still waiting on snow, but generally a slower time of the year. And that's just something that we can all kind of anticipate for. And today we want to share things that you might think about if you are one of those buyers that are ready to buy, but kind of waiting for the perfect time, or sellers who are thinking about listing in the spring. Just some things that might be helpful to consider during this slower time of the year. What are some of the things that you would recommend to, buyers that might be ready or starting to seriously start looking, or they're, waiting for that perfect time? What would you say to them?
Kind of piggybacking off of what you said, Chelsea, in regards to this kind of being a time where we're settling in and that anticipation for the winter. I feel like right now we kind of almost have a whole new subset of people that are coming into town, right? So, there's always this talk about during the summertime and this and that, but, we actually are still seeing a lot of transactions happening, in this time as well. And, even though there might be, naturally, like Chelsea was saying, this might be a leaner time, there's still plenty of stuff transacting. And I think my advice right now is, if you are a buyer and you're trying to think about starting to get into that market and enter into that realm, something that I know I've found extremely helpful when looking at this kind of stuff is, taking your time and utilizing the resources that you have. So a great real estate agent, and just taking your time to kind of look for what you're wanting.
Making a list of priorities.
Very
important.
Priorities. And,
within that, for example, location, what part of town do you want to be on? Walkability.
Yeah.
Do you need a yard? Do you need a garage? How many bedrooms? How many square footed?
Yeah.
All these kinds of things that I like to walk my clients through, like a nice to haves section and then a non-negotiable.
Mm-hmm.
Is that kind of similar?
Absolutely. And especially too, different clients have different needs. So it's kind of like, for my first time home buyer clients, I might talk to them about looking at, Southeast, or looking at stuff that has great incentives, a new roof, or, new appliances or new things like that, right? That just kind of make that a little bit more of an easy transition. And that might even be a non-negotiable, right? Where it's like, wow, hey, they have this $10,000 seller credit I can use, for the temporary rate buy down for 3 years, and talk with your lender about how that might work. And sometimes little things like that become non-negotiables that we find.
Or even HOA versus a non-HOA.
Yeah.
Like you said, buying in communities where HOAs might be higher. And for those of you who don't know, HOA stands for Homeowners Association fees. So certain neighborhoods that tend to look quite uniform in characteristic, or they have, different CCNRs and standards for the way things need to be maintained, exterior, yard, things like this, setbacks. So when you're, again, making that list of non-negotiables, and nice to haves. One thing too to talk to your realtor is, do I want to live in a neighborhood that has an HOA or not?
Right.
Because some of them, while the fees might be higher per month or on a quarterly basis, they will cover things like yard maintenance, snow removal, your roof.
Siding, paint, all those things that could be big expenses and might be something that, is a non-negotiable for somebody.
Right.
Right. When we talk about those, it's, wow, my exterior siding is covered. I never have to worry about a roof. Things like that might become non-negotiable as well. And amenities, pools, fitness centers.
Or, Bend is a huge market for second homeowners, or, folks that like to spend the summers here, but then like to go somewhere warmer for the winter months.
Yeah.
Considering an HOA or the type of situation that makes it easy to like turn key and walk up and leave, and you're not having to deal with the constant maintenance when you're not physically in Bend.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
We're seeing that in communities all over.
And then, I think those are all really great things for the buyer side. But as far as sellers that are thinking about listing, I always encourage my sellers to use this downtime or the holidays and kind of this slower time of the year to really start thinking about, what kind of investments or updates can I be making now to get the most value out of my house once I do list. So, for example, touch-up paint. So easy, so inexpensive, makes a huge difference. What else?
I think and piggybacking off of what you're saying, things like that are so critical and also important that you're actually also, working with a realtor through those. I have a client that I'm working with right now, and, kind of outside of town a little bit, but is wanting to list this spring. And I'm like, great, let's work through that together. So we're even working, it's like running things past me. Hey, what do you think about this paint color versus this paint color, right?
Do I need to replace the carpet? Do I give a credit to the buyer so they can pick it out?
Right. Having those conversations where, you're working together, because
Absolutely.
that's really what it is.
We're here to help make that process feel easeful.
Yeah.
And don't want you to be spending money or making updates that may not bring you the most return or ROI later on down the line.
Well, and I don't even know how many, and I'm interested to hear what you think about this, but I don't know how many times I've been in a listing appointment or something like that, right? And a seller is just gung-ho that they put in this, minute thing that, was expensive, but at the end of the day isn't going to be much of a return on their investment. And you have to have those hard conversations where you say, oh, hey, this, this one random thing, right? You don't have to get into, the details, but and maybe that would be a better, thing to add in a different community, right? Maybe, but where you have to have those hard conversations of, hey, that's actually not really a value add.
Yeah.
And you have to.
My rule of thumb with that is, if it's something aesthetic, which, don't get me wrong, I am a Libra and aesthetics are like part of who I am. I love things to look nice. I love things to match, look uniform. But I often find people spend the most on, interior design, redecorating. Again, all of these things are wonderful, but is it going to be passed on with the title, with the home, when you remove all your furniture or when you take all the personal belongings out? Like, is it still going to uphold the investment that you made on that?
Right.
Versus upgrading a water tank, for example, a water heater, or putting in AC and heating if it doesn't already have an HVAC system. Like, those are pretty substantial upgrades that definitely cost a lot, but stay with the home and certainly increase the value.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think as well too, in doing that, like I was saying, incorporating your realtor into that, but then also, and I'm curious to your thoughts on this, staging. Some realtors don't do it and some do. And so for me, I stage all my houses, and there is times where they have furniture that's existing, and thankfully we have great contacts that can kind of work in and add some fluff to those things if needed. The way that I explain to my sellers is, look, your home is we have to make your home a marketable, asset,
Product.
a
Yeah.
product, and your home is an asset. You have to make it a marketable product,
That's
and that means removing,
personal
everything,
items, cleaning off countertop.
just anything that just makes that it's easy for somebody to walk into and imagine their own stuff, but then also not leaving it blank enough where you're walking into an empty room and you're like, gosh, where did this couch go? Where,
Right.
sometimes you have to put couches in the middle of the room and you're like, well, what do I do? And so having it staged, sometimes creates that. But what do you do for staging? I'm curious to hear what your thoughts are.
Yeah, I am a huge fan of staging.
Oh, yeah.
I will say that I have had some sellers who, as you mentioned, their furniture looks like staging furniture, and we just go in and make more minor than major adjustments,
Yeah.
fluff it up. The biggest thing, and actually the first thing I do even before staging is I have sellers depersonalize the house, and that's not because we don't love to see your children's framed photo, sitting next to your bed or the family portrait above the fireplace, but it really helps those potential buyers come in and envision themselves and their families in a space when they aren't, you know, when there's not a lot of personal things around. So
Yeah.
that includes like clearing off countertops.
Right.
Again, all these things that your realtor should walk you through and should be on top of. But
Yeah.
I do like to stage as well. I think it gets a house marketed well. It gets it sold faster. It just shows better. And so, I think it's also a great opportunity when people are downsizing, for example, using that time, before staging happens to get your stuff out and pare down what it is you need.
Yeah.
It can definitely be more work on the front end because you're having to, essentially move out of the house early. And in some instances, that's not possible. So
Yeah.
that's okay too. If you need to live in the house up until day of close, and you need your furniture, then by all means, we can work with that. But
Yeah.
especially with a vacant house, I think staging is a must.
I think it is as well. Absolutely.
And we have some amazing local stagers in town.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So I know that this is a conversation a conversation that I have a lot with clients is, obviously, there's a lot of realtors here in Central Oregon and in the world, and it's like, what the thing and question that I get a lot is, what do you charge? What's your fee? And what sets you apart from the competition?
Mm.
And that's where, and I think both of us are like, obviously, we both have our, own separate businesses, but we're, best friends and, support each other and, are always there for each other and bouncing ideas off each other. Our offices are literally next door.
And that's just generally how the agency works. And I mean, we're all a family here.
Right.
We all want each other to win. But yeah, at the end of the day, you have a lot of options. You have a lot of agents to choose from.
Well, and I think, yeah, absolutely. And kind of going off of that, right? It's like, what makes you different? I feel like us all at the agency, we don't just put your house on the MLS, right, for just to be listed on Zillow. I mean, it's about marketing. It's about, staging. I mean, me personally, I like to do a lighting consultation with my clients where have an interior designer come through and maybe there's a lighting fixture that, we can change out for something that might brighten the space up a little bit more, make it a little bit more make it a little better. A listing that I'm working on now, it's a older house that was built in the 80s, and we recently just put all new canned lights throughout the whole entire house because there was no overhead lights and just things like that, right?
Yeah.
And painting it white. It was like kind of a dark green or like a darker yellow
Neutral
color.
colors are
Painting it white, just like things like that. Just like having a realtor that kind of gives you that advice to just get your home present a little bit better. It is kind of that's where I try to add value, and
someone who is going to come alongside you as a partner and feels like a friend because you will be communicating
Every
daily, if not
every day.
multiple times a day. And so the beauty of having a big market or a lot of, options when it comes to brokers and realtors in town is just, I would just encourage you to find who is somebody that you want to work with,
Yeah.
who aligns with, your goals. Values is important, but, and also just, somebody that you don't mind hanging out with,
I agree.
that you're chatting with.
Yeah.
We are not a perfect fit for everybody, but everyone has, someone and clients that they are a perfect match for. And it's kind of like anything else. It's like finding your hairstylist and your CPA and
Whatever.
all the things. Yeah. So I also tell people, like, interview a variety,
Say.
2 to 3 agents, whether one of them is, I think that word of mouth is how I typically like to take referrals, or I always ask my family and friends for their references. I think that that's probably the top um, way that I like to find and curate those new relationships. But also, in whatever communities that you exist or, are kind of moving through, ask friends and family.
Right.
Of course, doing a Google search or, uh, but I think that if you can find somebody that can personally speak to that person, um, you know, that's always done well
Yeah.
with me.
And I think too, I was, hoping to, and with this as well, as just kind of, there can be a certain stigma of different real estate agents and this and that, and, services that, you can provide, and, kind of where we're different. And I think that what Chelsea's saying is something that I also recommend to my clients. Like, I tell people, you should interview multiple agents. You should. Because it's a fit for both of us. Like, it's a fit, I want to make sure
It should be a fit for both.
it should be a fit for both of us. I'm wanting to make sure that I'm working with somebody who, is what I'm looking for. Like, I had a client reach out that wants to sell their parcel of land in Eastern Oregon. And, that's just not my expertise. And so that's something that we work with our other partners in the, the real estate community to, get that out. So, for that's also important. It's just making sure
Yeah.
it's a mutual match.
In my yoga classes and I'm teaching, it's kind of like that reminder that the energy that you put out is what you get back. And your realtor, your clients, they always find you exactly when they're supposed to.
I agree.
Not to get too spiritual, but if you know me, then I live for that kind of stuff. So
Yeah. And also, when she says that she's a Libra and that she loves design, it's true. You should see her house. It's like a restoration hardware showroom in there.
very sweet of you.
Yeah. So anyway, well, we kind of talked about, what we're looking for in sellers, and kind of what we can be doing right now. And we kind of hit on, what we provide, what we think, the general rule of thumb of moving through this season of, what you can expect out of your realtor. We kind of touched on buyers a little bit more, now we'll go back and touching a little bit more on that of when you're working with a buyer,
Yeah.
how, for me, I really try to hone in and listen and feel out specifically what they're looking for.
Yeah.
And just make sure that I'm, really providing value every time I reach out, and really providing something that they can, lean on to, right? And there's a new rates, just, the interest rates just got cut, right? Oh, wow, look at this. We've been kind of waiting for this to dip below this amount. Like, what do you think about this? And I've also found too, when you're first meeting people, asking those discovery questions.
Absolutely. Yeah, everybody has their own process as far as intake, and when they, start working with clients, whether it's a discovery call or an in-person meeting would definitely be my preferred way to kind of get things started, and really just getting under the hood and finding out, like, what are your priorities? What is your ideal timeline? What is the budget that you want to stay within? Because I think one of the worst qualities that a broker could do is pushing their clients outside of their budget and into in an uncomfortable position, putting them in a stressful situation that just doesn't fall within the means of their life.
Because this is already stressful enough to buy a home.
Yes.
It's one of the biggest investments of your entire life.
Yeah.
And you want to feel like somebody that you're trusting with that amount of money is
Absolutely.
going to be having your back.
Yeah. And I mean, I think that we often, a lot of us kind of joke sometimes that, yes, we're here to, send listings and go on showings and, you know, get your house ready to list and all these things. But we're also here to just be a sounding board. And
Yeah. Absolutely.
we're like, we're we're licensed therapists, but licensed brokers and just therapists by trade.
Yeah.
And, that's just really to provide comfort and reassurance. We've walked through this process hundreds of times with previous clients. And so we're here to just, again, try to make the entire process of buying and selling a home enjoyable,
Yeah.
fun if we can, and to reduce or eliminate as much of the stress as possible.
Yeah.
Because we're being paid well, we're being compensated accordingly, and that is really why that's what justifies our commission and our rates.
Yeah. Yeah. And we like to have fun. I mean, we certainly do.
Not at all.
Not at all boring. No, we love to have fun.
We like.
And but what we do love as well, and kind of what Chelsea's saying, like, there is times where, all my clients, like, I stayed basically friends with, right? Like,
Absolutely.
I just went out and got dinner with my friends, and we were supposed to just meet for a happy hour, and we ended up, they had their family in town, their whole family ended up coming, and we ended up just staying at the restaurant and eating for hours and just laughing and talking and sharing. And I was in workout clothes. We went to a place here, Hawkeye and Huckleberry, which is a nice restaurant, and I was in workout
I
clothes.
feel like that's kind of your MO lately.
Hawkeye and Huckleberry,
No, just
being in workout clothes all the time.
yes.
I know. Sometimes I come to the office, they're like, "Why are you in shorts?" I'm like, "I didn't want to change fucking to my nice clothes." Back.
I convinced you to come to a concert very last minute, and you were in workout clothes.
Yeah.
And of
Here's what happened. So I had to leave the next day for out of town, and Chelsea's like, wants me to come, and I'm like, okay. And so she texted me, she said, "I bought you a ticket." I'm like, okay. I'm like, "I love you so much." And so I'm rolling my eyes. I mean, obviously that's very sweet, and yes, it was like, and I was like, absolutely, I came, and
after trying to come up with every excuse that he could, I just made it not an option.
and then so I came in workout clothes.
We had a great time with the concert.
Yeah. Yeah. But anyway, back to our point.
We like to have fun.
We do like to have fun.
And one of the things that I adopted this from my mother, Sherry, who is also my business partner and has been in the industry a very long time.
I love
But
best cookies ever.
But her and my dad, between the two of them in the kitchen, my dad loves to cook. And one of the things that I just always grew up around, and then now it's part of my own business and practice, is we have our clients over for dinner at the end of the transaction.
That is something that's such a lost art that I think is really great.
Well, we're lucky because my dad likes to cook. There is that huge piece. But yeah, there's something special about, I mean, you absolutely can give a gift certificate. We love to support local businesses, and we have lots of amazing restaurant options in Bend. But my mom kind of wanted to add a little bit of an extra personal touch with that, and inviting, clients into your home. And then those clients, like you said, usually end up becoming longtime friends. And, we're able to kind of answer those questions face to face. Who do I go to get my hair done? Who do I go to get my dog groomed? Like, who's,
Right.
who is your accountant? All these things that can be really hard when you get to a new community or you move cities. Unless you have a local expertise or somebody who, I grew up here, and Brett went to college here, and yeah, that takes time.
Yeah.
And so
Absolutely.
even providing that value after the sale or after the transaction, like, we're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
And usually you'll continue to hear from your brokers for years after.
Years.
Years.
Well, and like I even have clients where, we bought first, the brand new home, then those comes with warranties, and where after a year the builder will come in and fix anything that's and so I'll commonly then I'm checking in, I'm like, oh, everything's going well still, like like there's it's or even if you're buying a resale home, right, like you're checking in, like you're like, hey, how's everything going? Did you gosh, we were trying to find that the sprinkler, and we found it, like everything worked well with the pipes, nothing was busted over the winter time during the colder months, like I think too, like that's just, even though our job is like done and the deal is done, that's where I think Chelsea and I really pride ourselves on is just still being that point of reference for people, because you should be, because I mean, we are the experts of the homes, right? Like we are the one.
And the community.
And the community.
So this is our community. We like to pour back into it everything that we get out of it, and that's a continual cycle. And
Yeah.
and that really starts, again, from the beginning. We have a team of our, business partners, if you will, or preferred partners that we have done many transactions with, everything from your stager to your lender, um, all these things. And that is, again, why working with a real estate agent is is um is a benefit.
Yeah, absolutely.
For lack of something better, it's part of our value. Thank you. Part of our value, and we're bringing not only ourselves but our whole team here at the agency, our support staff,
Yeah.
our amazing principal brokers. Like everybody is on board to try to make it as wonderful and seamless as an experience as possible.
Yeah. And I think I've really started to pride myself on doing that when, I started, when I first started meeting with clients and this and that, I found a lot of, hesitantness, right? Like when like those first discovery meetings or those first phone calls, you were seeing kind of a shell of your client that you're working with. And for me, I really love to, well, just understand my client, like everything about them, right? Like I want to know everything because, how close are you with your family? How many pets do you have? Do you have any children? Are you wanting that? I want to know all that personhood because I care about my clients. And, but then also it helps us find what you're looking for. And,
Right.
and,
It meets your lifestyle. We find the
and so,
home that meets your lifestyle.
yeah. And so
Might be what you're
yeah.
trying at.
Yes. Well, that's what I'm saying is like, it helps you find it really,
Brett wants to know all of your secrets.
I want to know everyone. But also, like, I think where I'm trying to say, if this word vomit ever happens, is when I first talk to people or meeting new clients, there tends to be this kind of reservedness and
Yeah, there's
wanting to
a wall
trust.
that you have to break
And
through.
so I really just try to just be myself, and I know Chelsea does as well. And she has a great, she has an amazing personality and is a awesome person and a great friend. And I know that the second people just start to see that break through a little bit more, they, that trust begins to happen, that trust begins to start. And that's always my favorite moment with clients. Like when somebody comes into an open house, and I'm there, they're always expecting a realtor to be pushy and, or maybe they're not, but they just kind of have a more closed off, and just kind of quiet. And, once we just start talking, and then it's like my favorite moment when I can see that switch flip.
Realize that like you're human. We're human.
They kind of like started to trust me a little bit. And like yesterday, like I was talking with somebody, and then, I kind of like shared a funny story or something like that. And he's like, "Where did you say you were from again?" Like, "Oh, you were like, and thank you for showing us through the house. Like, you're awesome." Like, and he's like, "We have another, they didn't say it at first, obviously. And, no matter even if somebody is
Working with someone.
I'm still going to show them through my open house, right? And, answer questions. And that's not my only goal of an open house. It's to represent the house. But, it's just like once we kind of got through that, and we were chatting, like, "You're awesome. Thank you so much for showing us through," and blah, blah, blah. And so anyway, that to me is just something that's cool.
Yeah, it's one of the rewarding parts of our job is that personal touch. And yeah, I would say buying or selling a home is probably one of the biggest, actually, it is the biggest decision, financial decision, investment, purchase, sale that you'll probably ever make. And so, yeah, you need a trusted professional partner and friend to come alongside you. So,
Yeah. Well, if you haven't gotten now of why you should use a realtor, I think you will.
to be honest, when we started that, I didn't know that was really the direction we were going with this and the topic that we were going to land on. But I really think that that's perfect, Brett. I think it's
Yeah,
kind of the essentials of.
I think that's kind of where we wanted to have this land. Yeah, I mean, obviously we kind of wanted to come on here today and talk about just prep and things that you can kind of start doing and what you should expect and this and that. And, maybe what we're also seeing too in different parts of Bend, and those conversations that I literally have with clients all day of, how's the market and how's this? And maybe I think now it's a great time just to share some insight. Like I want to share my area of Bend that I love, like my preferred
Sure.
section, but I want to hear what yours is
Yeah.
and what you love about it and why you think it would be, I don't know.
I hate to exclude anyone in Bend. I think that I will be the first to admit that I might be a little biased simply because I grew up in Bend. I grew up on the west side and in Broken Top in particular. That's where my folks still live. And so that just feels comfortable and home to me. That being said, I have clients all over Bend and even, in the greater Bend, Central Oregon area. Um, the neighborhood that has been I think requiring the most of my energy and where I've been wanting to put a lot of my energy has continued to be Discovery West and Northwest Crossing.
Yeah.
I have many friends that live there, many clients. I also went to Seven Peaks, High Lakes, and Summit High School. So again, this is just purely Storm. Go Storm. Although I am very proud of Bend High girls soccer for going to state. I think that is incredible and something that we should definitely applaud. And Lava Bears.
The coach works here.
Yeah,
Sager. Maybe we should have him on.
we should.
Yeah.
Scott is
So fun.
our little local celeb. He led the girls soccer, Bend High soccer to state. So little shout out for Scott. But yeah, I mean, that just tends to be where the bulk of our business is in Discovery West Northwest Crossing. There is a lot coming, and in the episode that I did, I sat down with Kirk Schuler, the president of Brooks Resources, last week. And if you're interested in kind of diving more into that neighborhood in particular, into the 2026 updates as far as the neighborhood development, I would definitely check out that episode because I feel like it's a lot to get into now. But
I loved it.
yeah, I mean, I think that the West Side, the biggest thing that clients say that they love about it, and that's the reason that they look there, is really the walkability because it is so centrally located. There's tons of shops, tons of dining nearby, and very kid and family friendly. We have an amazing school system here in Bend Lapine School District. So yeah, for family reasons and I think convenience, I'd say that that's probably really what makes the West Side so special.
Yeah.
Amongst many other things, but
Amongst many other things. I fully agree with what Chelsea's saying, and I love Discovery West first and foremost. I just had a friend that moved into a house there, and we were there walking around and hanging out, and I of course know the community, but we were.
Also, Brett and I frequently stop into the Grove. We love it there. Might be one of our favorite places for happy hour.
I love the Grove. The Waypoint Bar is really.
I love the Grove.
They have really good Bloody Marys. They make them from scratch. He showed me how to make. Anyway.
Also, their winter decorations, like holiday.
I know. I was just there last week.
If you guys have not been to Waypoint Bar, you at least need to just walk in.
Yeah.
It's stunning.
Just walk in and
it's
your head up.
Incredible. It looks like it's out of a magazine.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and then also kind of Discovery West too is turning into that. Like we went and sat by, they have a big fire pit there, a gas fire pit. It was on and we just sat out there. Sparrow, there's, great other little restaurants in there, a great wine bar that went to
Portello.
Put a cork in it. Portello, like so many great little shops in there. Yeah. So I guess my turn where I guess my favorite section is, and again, I'm the same as Chelsea. It's a hard question. And I guess I just wanted to ask it just to I feel like we all have kind of areas that we love to work in or areas that we sold a lot of houses in or live in. And, obviously we live there, so we like where that is. But, going off of that, it's the same, it's like what's been so amazing about this career is, I obviously live in Bend, but I've done deals, all over Central Oregon. And so, it brings me into other communities like Lapine, Redmond, Prineville, and, just seeing what they have there. And then also, seeing how prices are different and, seeing different models of, what's around and what is different, what sets Redmond different from Bend. I mean, there is so many amazing aspects of Redmond, that Bend just doesn't have. For example, the airport, right? Like that's right there, right? And you can get anywhere. There's a lot of other great restaurants in Redmond that's specific. They're downtown right now with all the holiday lights is beautiful, great restaurants. You know, I did a couple transactions there, and it's been great. I actually got invited to the Redmond Parade one time from an
Be
agent.
in it.
No, like just to go watch what their office. And I end up going because I had I had some client stuff to deal with. But great community. But if I had to pick where my favorite spot of Bend would actually be in this community called Hidden Hills. It is not in California, not where the Kardashians live, but one right here in Bend in Southeast. It is a community that was built by some of the same developers that actually built Northwest Crossing. So the houses are that same kind of architecture, that same kind of style. When you drive into the community, I'm like, wait, are we in Northwest Crossing right now? Like just that very contemporary, modern style. But then I tell people you're not paying, a little bit of the higher price tag, and you can still be in that area. That's one thing I love about Southeast is there's those main roads that run like connects from Brookswood like all the way through Southeast. That is just like your pipeline right into like, you're 5 minutes from the amphitheater, you're 5 minutes from the old mill, you're maybe 7, 8, 10 minutes from downtown, right? Depending. That is my favorite neighborhood specifically.
Love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
I love it so much.
I think that there's obviously cons and there's pluses for every single person, and some people's cons are going to be some people's pluses, and some people's pluses are going to be some people's cons.
Yeah.
And
At the end of the day, I think it comes down to what area, what neighborhood, and ultimately what house is going to fit your family's lifestyle and needs. And we're here for it all.
Yeah.
So I think that is going to wrap it for today. Such a fun conversation. We hope that you guys are finding value in just our banter, but also, coming to you and trying to add value. Trying to curb the curiosity, answer any questions. This will be a new space that you can reach and interact with us. If you have questions or have a topic that you'd like us to cover, please feel free to reach out. The Agents Account website, leave a comment.
This will be on YouTube and Spotify, so all places that you can access and listen to. We just want, I think also, this is going to be one of our first videos, and there's a few others on there, like that one Chelsea did with Kirk, but kind of wanting to create a space where people, home buying is intimidating, and create a space where people can just come and listen and kind of understand.
And have it be more conversational than...
Because it's not scary. It shouldn't be scary. It should just be a conversation. And so hopefully this provides, some value in what you guys are looking for.
Yeah. Thank you for listening and for tuning in, and we will see you all next week.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.